Welcome to the David Goad Show. I'm David Goad. This is the show that answers your questions about how to become a more impactful public speaker. And today's question comes to us from Michael Dreyer. And Michael asked the question, how do you convince listeners in a meeting to stay off their phones? All right, Michael, that's a really good question. And the first thing that comes to my mind is be more interesting than their phone. That's right. You got to up your game a little bit. You got to be real and relevant and impactful enough so that they're not tuning out. And in fact, when you watch your audience, seeing people with the body language shifting in their chair, checking their phone, that's a great barometer that you need to do something different, disrupt that pattern. But I have a couple of tips and techniques that I will share with you, things that used to work with me and in my experience in corporate America. Well, Silicon Valley, not exactly all of America, but you get the idea. Number one is to make a deal with your audience, the people in your meeting, the people you're presenting to. Up front, make a promise that we're here to do this. We're going to make a decision about this. We're going to advance this forward. We're going to come out of here with some kind of action plan and give them a time frame. Saying, I promise you we can do this in 20 minutes if you're all with me. So let's go. And just by stating that if you're with me, you're going to get them paying a little more attention. And if they say, if I participate and join in, maybe we get done early. And you know that time is the most precious commodity for most people. So make that promise. Maybe you've scheduled a 60-minute meeting. You say, tell you what, folks, I think we can do this in 30. Stay with me. And just that little deal up front, you're kind of making a bargain with your audience, setting ground rules, if you will, is one way to make sure they might put the devices aside and join in more up front. Next thing is that if you make that promise and you want to add to it and say, if this stated objective is not relevant to you, you're welcome to leave. What? Let people leave the weekly status meeting? Maybe they could go back and do more productive work? Yes. If the role that they play and the work that they do is not directly relevant to that conversation, let them go. Because you don't want people sitting there checking their phone because I have to be here and I got to sit through this thing, right? Excuse the people that aren't directly tied to the conversation you're having that day. And then finally, this is an old school teacher trick. If you've done all that and you still have those couple of people that just can't put down their device, just ask them the first question. First person to check their phone, you just check them a little bit by saying, hey, so Susan, would you agree that that's the most important priority that we have on this team? And of course, she's going to look up, panic a little bit, and try to answer the question. And that sets an example for everybody else. So that's the punitive approach. That's the vice principal approach that you might take. Or you just walk over and stand next to them. Don't say anything, but just use your body to be in front of their space. And they'll get the idea and they'll put the device down. So that's what I would recommend. Number one, be real, be relevant, and more interesting than the phone. Make a deal with your audience that you're going to finish in a certain amount of time, and then you stick with that promise. And then also deal with the individuals as you need to. Maybe excuse them from the meeting if they're not really necessary to be there. And use the old school teacher trick if you have to. So that's the answer to your question, Michael. I hope it does answer your question. Feel free to join in the comments below if you agree or disagree. I want to hear from you because that's what this show is all about, helping all of us become better, more powerful communicators. Thanks for watching.